Hello, welcome to the Pikeville City Commission Report. I'm Minta Trimble for the City of Pikeville, and our guest today is Commissioner Barry Cheney. It's been a while, hasn't it, Barry?
It has been a while, Minta.
But you know, 2015's kind of rolled in, new projects are rolling along, and I know everyone's anxious to hear kind of what the City Commission's been doing, what's going on, and what's coming next.
Well, kind of recap a little bit, Minta. Something that some information I found out just last week. Evidently, there was a census study done for the city of Pikeville. We now have 12 or just over 12,000 people that come to work every day in the city of Pikeville. About 4 years ago, I think that number was just over 10,000. So nearly 2,000 jobs have been created in that length of time. And something significant about that number is that 1,400 of those jobs are held by city residents.
City residents,
The
that's
rest
amazing.
of those jobs are from Pike County and from neighboring counties. So it's really, really amazing what has happened, and it kind of speaks a lot to what you've been doing and what the City Commission has been doing for the past 4 years.
Well, I'm sure the reason, with that growth, people are realizing the quality of life that comes from the growth that, meets their day-to-day needs. When you work in Pikeville now, you can see, there's a lot to do after you get off work, but while you're working during the day, it's amazing just to be able to walk downtown and see people on the streets and the progress of the construction in the area.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that always, really I enjoy happening is when somebody comes that's not been here in a while. Mm-hmm. And one gentleman told his daughter, when she related to me, he told her, he said he hadn't been here in about 10 years, and he said, if you had blindfolded me and dropped me in the middle of this town and told me, and took that blindfold off and told me that I was in Pikeville, he said I wouldn't have believed it. We hear stories like that all the time, and what has happened downtown. Before we didn't have the restaurants that we have at downtown now. We got what, 4 or 5 excellent restaurants downtown now. Mm-hmm. We've got people seem like downtown all the time. Main Street Live is a extremely big hit on the weekends, and Muscle on Main with the drag racing is unbelievable, and all the shows that the Expo has and all the events that they have 300 events a year in the Expo now. So we don't hear about all of them because a lot of them are conferences and weddings and
right.
Things of that nature, but a lot of things going on.
Well, with that growth, and like you said, for the conferences, having a new hotel downtown, now having 2, meets the needs of those conferences that we haven't been able to meet in the past. I know the first conference that we had with the Kentucky Travel Industry Association was because of the growth that Pikeville has seen, and they were able to come to us because we could put, them into a nice hotel, offer them restaurants, and the growth is definitely making people in Kentucky go, Pikeville's doing something right, and the infrastructure growth.
Yes, well, and too, man, that makes, when businesses look, where do I want to locate, and we've got a group that's recommending us now, and so when people look at Eastern Kentucky, I believe if they look all over Eastern Kentucky, they'll choose Pikeville simply because of what's going on in Pikeville.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, all of the conferences that I go to across the state, with Main Street, they want to know what Pikeville's doing, how they can, emulate that, or how they can take ideas away from that. And used to, back in the day, site selectors would look at your town and go, no, you're not a population of 10,000. But now we are, and like you said, in that work-based area, we have enough people here to be able to open those doors for the restaurants, to build another, a school of optometry for the high school, the academic. We have everything in just right here in a little area, and it just absolutely amazes people that we have become the central marketplace of Eastern Kentucky, to where 250,000 people, it drives right to this area.
Absolutely.
And the Commission's done a wonderful job looking ahead with that. And the projects, I know that you mentioned to me the other day about the sewer project, getting money for that, funding for others. Catch us up on some of the things that's...
Well, the sewer project is coming along. The projected date for that to be completed is towards the end of 2017. The sewer project is one of the first, and we understand, heard last night that there is another city that is considering putting a membrane system in. But this project will be the first in the state of Kentucky. The water that comes, the wastewater that comes out of this plant will be almost pure enough to drink, which is unbelievable. That we'll put that back in the river. We may have a market for it for car washes or something of that nature. But if it has to go to the river, we're not putting anything in the river that the EPA would fine us for. And we're not sending anything down the river that our neighboring towns would have to deal with. So the beauty of this facility though, and not only is it very efficient, but we are going to have a 4 million gallon a day capacity. The beauty of this is when we reach that 4 million gallons, rather than have to buy more property, we can increase that capacity to 6 million gallons on the same footprint, which will save future commissions millions and millions of dollars.
Exactly.
We looked at the iFast system when we first started talking about our need for a new sewer plant, and we would have been locked in at 4 million gallons, and we would have left debt and a possible catastrophe down the road. We would have limited growth. But this way we can continue to grow, and our people that we leave that will come after us, they'll still have the opportunity to grow.
And that's very important.
Oh,
looking ahead, because the future, definitely, I think the baby boomers are kind of getting passed up a little bit by this young generation that's coming up. So where would the new sewer plant be located?
It's going to be in the same place that the old one is.
Okay.
By going to the membrane system, it requires a smaller space. So we'll be able to use the same 2 vats. We'll shut one down, put the membrane system, will be placed in there, put online, and then they'll be able to shut the other vat down and put the other side in there.
Services the same area?
Service the same area.
I would think it's more cost efficient.
Very much more cost efficient, and it's going to be needed. Our Marion's Branch project is coming. We've got a tenant that has agreed to come. They're going to start construction with that company up there. Is going to start construction in March of next year. So we'll have more jobs coming for Pike County when they start. But in the meantime, the bridge is going to start, I think, in September. One of the things that we have to get done, and we're looking at different funding sources now, is to put the sewer and water to the top of the hill.
At Marion's Branch,
At Marion's Branch. We have to have that up there before anybody can come. We thought about putting a temporary tank up there, but banks will not loan factories money on temporary service. It has to be in the ground, ready to go, permanent service before they will loan them money. So we have to do that, and that has to be done.
So this new business that's coming, I'm sure, is going to be one of many. I mean, the industrial park, how much square footage, land mass do we have to offer in that area?
We've got around 390 acres, and it will depend on what comes. Like I said, we've got people recommending us. We're in an ideal location. We're the midpoint between the south and the north. The group over that works for AEP, they're going to be recommending us to some Tier 3 auto industry because they told us that there are car factories in the south, and rather than pay the transportation of the product from Michigan to South Carolina, it would be ideal to build a facility here and transport from here. And you've got Central Kentucky. that has a lot of auto manufacturing.
You know, and I think it's amazing, you know, to look at what that land has become. You know, used to, you know, back in the day it was coal mining, and the resources now that it offers, and to try to help some of those people, miners that's lost work, it will be a blessing, you know, to have that same land turned over. You know, I was talking with a gentleman today that their business is doing the same thing, trying to offer jobs to people that maybe have lost those due to the economy and to the changes and things.
Well, you know, as you remember, when we first started talking about Marion's Branch, it was going to be middle income housing.
I do.
And you know, we put time and effort in that, and had a very good plan. But as time progressed, the coal industry taking the hits that it has taken, we realized that we needed to create jobs, more jobs, and diversify our economy. And you know, that was a driving force behind our decision to go with making it an industrial park. And two, the people from Insight that looked at Marion's Branch said it was ideal for an industrial park, and probably one of the best in the region. And when the bridge starts in September, it will be probably one of the top industrial sites in Kentucky. And there are some real good surprises going to be coming along for that up there too. So we're very optimistic, and I think that we'll probably get more than what people realize we're going to be able to get up there.
So tell us exactly where the bridge will be located. Right now, the entrance to Marion's Branch is at Island Creek.
Right.
Take a left turn there off the bridge, but
Well,
the
it'll
bridge.
be the property just above the Fastenal place.
Okay.
You got TJ's Auto Sales, which that has been acquired, and the city will own, after the bridge is built, the city will own about 4 acres of property there on the river and road frontage there. The bridge will go across just the other side of Fastenal, the south side of Fastenal, and go straight across the river. If you remember the old Chaparral Tipple, it'll be just past where that was located. Okay. Some of these miners will know exactly where it's going, and shoot straight up the hill. And that road has been completed from where the bridge will connect. That's a blacktop road all the way to the top of that hill, and it is fabulous and fantastic. And you know, once you get up there, I can't imagine anybody not wanting to locate up there as beautiful,
it's beautiful.
As it is. It is.
It is. When we had the groundbreaking there, you know, well, I guess it wasn't groundbreaking, the ribbon cutting or whatever that we had there last fall, because the groundbreaking probably happened many years ago, but we had a ceremony up there last fall, and I was amazed at the beauty. And, you know, it's going to open up a lot of business for that south end of town.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of more accessibility and a visual statement, I think, showing, you know, the progress that's, you know, we need to grow, but we're growing outward.
Well, yeah, we're growing. Great. We're going to grow, but we're going to diversify too. And you know, that is important to, you know, when one part of your economy is down, you've still got the other that is increasing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And you know, as you know, one of our big disappointments because of this downturn in the coal economy was the loss of the commercial air service.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm very disappointed. Personally, I feel like if we could have hung on another year, we might have saw a bigger improvement. There is a program in Washington that called the Essential Air Service Grants, but it's a closed program. A lot of small towns the size of Pikeville have commercial air service, and this grant supplements all those air services because it's important to the local economy. Mm-hmm. But because it's a closed program, we couldn't get into that. I wish there had been some way that we could have got into that, but I really feel if we had been another year, we could have hung on. But we promised we wouldn't take local money and put in it, and we kept that promise. But some good things came out of that too, Minda. You know, there was, I mentioned to you that in 2006, I attended an airport board meeting up there, and there was a concern over a taxiway that they needed built, and they didn't have funds to build it. Mm-hmm. And it had been a concern for some time. Because we had gotten commercial air service, we're going to get commercial air service. Bill Hickman, who's chairman, mm-hmm. was able to secure a $3.2 million grant to build that taxiway up there. We have a safer airport today because of commercial air service. And you know, when we first got our government grant, you know, we had 2 years to let's say get off the air, or
Get off the ground.
Get off the ground. And you know, we had so many roadblocks. You know, who knew that the prefix of the airport was shared by an airport in Africa? You know, nobody who could have seen that. And you know, the airport board had no idea. Nobody had any idea. You know, we had to get something done with that, and then had to get that changed. That was almost a killer. And then, you know, the multi-county funds that we thought we were going to get, that money ran out because of coal business. We had to scramble for other funds. So a lot of roadblocks, a lot of things happened. But the next group that tries for commercial air service will have a roadmap to go by now. And they will have 2 obstacles that they won't have to face, the taxiway and the prefix of the airport.
Well, that's an improvement that I think, you know, will make a world of difference. And the suggestion of commercial air is there. It's been opened, you know, and it's not that it failed. I think, like you said, just time sometimes works things out, and
well,
the need is there.
Too, I want to commend Bill Hickman. I'm telling you, he has been a trooper through all this. It's been very stressful for him. But you know, when he was appointed to the board, before he was appointed, I made some inquiries about Bill. His former boss told me that she would put him up against anybody in the state as far as a corporate lawyer. Said he was fantastic, honest, and you know, he's proved to be that way. Whatever he says is what he'll do, and he's came through with all that. I'm just in awe about what a good man he is.
Well, we have a lot of good men in this area. You, the men on the commission, the integrity of those men, that these, you know, projects that we're talking about wouldn't be accomplished without the passion that they have for the area, for Pikeville and Pike County, and you know, the relationships that has opened doors, you know, for so many different things coming about. You know, we're really, really excited. I know I can see just the tremendous growth in the last few years. So how long have you been in commission now?
This is my 9th year.
This is your 9th year. So some big changes. Big changes,
and you know, I've enjoyed it tremendously. And you know, and still we're having changes. We're having the optometry school that's coming. You know, I know people don't like to talk about it, but I've been asked about it. The railroad car that we had to move. You know, I'm a retired railroad man, and I hated to see that car go. But you know, the problem was it was deteriorating, and you know, if it had gone very much longer, it probably would have wound up being cut up for scrap. And while it was still had some use or life left in it, you know, we felt that it would be better to let it go to R.J. Corman, who is going to refurbish the car, and really going to put it on their dinner train, in fact. So, Jerry Keith Coleman, I've got to take my hat off to him. Man, he got in there, and he worked all that deal.
He's a fighter.
He is.
He's a fighter. And you know, I can attest to that. My office was in the train for a while, and things, it hadn't seen its day, but it had seen its time, probably for the use that it needed to be. And I'm so thankful, you know, that it has a new life now. And you know, with Jerry Keith stepping forward, thinking, and it has been saved. And, you know, there's a lot of projects that like that, but somebody stopped and.
Yeah, and you know, the cost, I mean, the morning I went up there, man, there were 16 tractor trailers, 2 100-ton cranes. There were probably about 35 men. I mean, I think the total cost to move that car to Lexington was something like $50,000 or $60,000. You know, even to move it from there to another spot in town, which we didn't have another spot, was going to be almost $30,000. Because you know that's and you know, it just takes a lot to move, and it's a piece of equipment. It's not a building. It's a piece of equipment, and without professional maintenance, it's going to deteriorate, and it's not had professional maintenance since it's been here.
Well, you know, it was kind of like like you said, it's a piece of equipment, and you know, just having an office in there, and you know, it didn't meet the needs of like a restroom facility inside. To think about what could be done for a new business to come in there, or an existing business to expand, or whatever. By the time you think, well, there's the restroom, that's, you know, that's a detriment as far as handicap accessible and things. You do have to evaluate the cost versus, you know, what you need in the long run for that to serve as. And I really think that saving it and letting it see a new life, and R.J. Corman back to its roots.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're going to look into having it named the Pikeville car, because they name those passenger cars whenever they refurbish them. So, and a lot of times it'll be a station that it came from or something. And you know, and like I say, it had a lot of sentimental value, and that train station over there especially has a lot of sentimental value, because I'll tell you, that's my grandfather told me when he first saw my grandmother. She got off the passenger train there.
Oh, really?
You know, she lived up Shelby Creek, and that was the first time he saw her. And he approached her and asked her if he could call on her. So.
What year was that?
Oh my, it was a long time ago. I don't remember what year, but you know, he was telling me, he was kind of explaining things to me about girls. You know, it's a town, but.
So you're probably 10 or 12.
Oh yeah, it was about that age. I was about that age, but you know, he told me about how all that worked out and how to go about doing those things. But I've always remembered that, and it's always had a special meaning. And you know, if you want to keep a historical site or a historical building in good repair, good condition, you need a tenant in that building so that they can keep a close watch on deterioration and repair. And we're going to have the new restaurant that's going to be located in there, and from what I understand, there's no expense going to be spared in that restaurant, and they're going to wash the brick down pretty soon.
Well, you know, the fact that both of those buildings, you know, adjacent to where the train was, are both historical buildings, the train depot and the museum, and it is a big piece of our history, because after the train came the Greyhound bus. Was that where that used to be?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's another generation, and.
Well, actually, you could say that that train station was the Ellis Island of Pikeville, because a lot of families came through there off that train.
That's probably true. Off that train or up the river that used to be Wright's there in the Riverfield.
Well, yeah, and you know, Catherine Langley, that was the first woman congressman ever elected to office from the state of Kentucky, lived right over here on the bypass, and she's rode that train to Washington, D.C. to do her business. So you know, it was quite a place in its day. And you know, the thing that I wish that if it could ever happen would be if they could pick that building up and turn it around and have the front of the building facing the boulevard.
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, it is beautiful.
Well, I think then, you know, hopefully the restaurant will look at that and, you know, see those beautiful columns, and they're on the opposite side, because I can remember, you know, those doors of the train station there. So we're talking along Caroline Avenue at the back of that. Hopefully the restaurant will take that into account.
Well, you know, anybody that's taking a picture of it needs to go around to the front and what one would consider the back and take a good picture. Yep. And you know, since the train car is gone, you know, it seemed like those two buildings, the building that Roasted is in used to be the old baggage station, and it seemed like those two buildings just stand out more, and you can appreciate the architecture in those buildings more now.
Exactly.
And you know, we're lucky to have those buildings. Paintsville had a train station down there, but the railroad is still using it for a maintenance away office. So they've not got to utilize their train station into their local landscape yet. But I'm looking forward to all the projects coming and all the construction done. It's just unbelievable what's going on.
It really is, and you know, I'm just going to say that I'm very, very proud, you know, that you're a part of that, and just you know, I know the community could, you know, speak out and say the same thing, and should be very grateful for your efforts.
Well, I thank you, but I would like to thank the people of Pikeville for giving me this opportunity to serve. I mean, you know, the things that I've learned over the years that I've been here, things that I've got to be involved in, have been a blessing to me.
Well, now that you're retired, you know, it's just going to expand that ability to be involved even more. Now that you're retired.
Well, I've learned that when you retire, what you do, you just work harder for less pay.
Well, we're glad
less.
you're working hard. Well, this has been the Pikeville City Commission Report with Commissioner Barry Cheney. We're very glad you joined us, and we'll see you again soon.